When I was 5, I remember holding my mum's hand to cross the road outside my primary school. Next to me was my friend, and next to her was her mum, who was pregnant. And I remember looking across at this swollen belly with a mixture of horror and awe, thinking, that's got to come out. And I turned to look up at my mum and I said, do you think that by the time I have a baby, they'll have made a powder that you can sprinkle on so it won't hurt? Because even from that early age, my expectation was that birth was going to hurt. A lot. And that belief was fueled over the next 25 years with every horror story I heard and every time I saw a birth on TV. It's always a medical emergency with a panicked and gasping woman flat on her back, legs akimbo, screaming in someone's face, give me all the drugs. Ha! 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 Oh. In 2013, I got pregnant. And it turned out there was still no magic powder. But my inner 5-year-old refused to let it go. It just didn't make any sense to me that my body could do everything from the moment of conception to the moment just before birth, and then suddenly hadn't got it covered. Really? My expectations also weren't helped by the swarm of random people who felt duty-bound to give me their opinion. Yeah, well, my wife wanted a natural birth until the pain kicked in. Trust me, you will be screaming for the drugs. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks. You see, the problem with expectations is that they shape our reality. I knew that if I was going to have an empowered birth, I needed to dramatically change my expectation. That led me to discover hypnobirthing. Oh, wow. Hypnobirthing. Well, that sounded suitably out there, so I signed up for a course. And I found out very quickly that this was a course rooted in logic. Your body can't be in an emergency response and a calm, confident response at the same time. You have to learn how to practice and access deep relaxation before labour. Trust me when I tell you that during labour is not the time you want to be learning how to relax. So, through actually learning about birth, because they talk in hypnobirthing also about the power of language, the language that you're choosing. So how the language you choose actually affects your body and affects your experience. So in hypnobirthing, you don't have contractions. Oh no, you have surges. See, it was already more manageable, right? Even for him, he's never going to have to do it. So through actually learning about this stuff, I started to create a new set of expectations. This wasn't just something that was going to happen to me. This was something I could influence. I had to learn how to breathe, trust, surrender, release. At 3:20 a.m. on Wednesday, the 5th of February, 2014, I birthed my son. Albert. Yeah, you can laugh, it's pretty funny. At home in a glorified paddling pool. Oh, it was fully awesome. And I'm holding this weird, waxy, alien-type rib cage, and I'm thinking, just one more surge and I'm going to be a mum. And so I take that breath, I breathe down, I get out the way, and he swims up out of the water, and there he is. The only screaming that there was a tiny voice inside me. Yes! Bloody did it! Get in! Your face. Because you see, the beauty of expectations is that they shape our reality. The first few days and weeks after you have a newborn are surreal. There is this beautiful, stumbling, chaotic freefall that makes no sense and all the sense. Like, I had no idea what normal looked like. I didn't know if it was normal to be walking around with refrigerated cabbage leaves on these newly acquired Amazonian udders. Just let that image sink in. Shutting myself in a room with my newborn having a panic attack because I was not ready to see the midwife. Screaming at my husband in the early hours of the morning that he just didn't smile at me anymore. Some people would say that sounds pretty normal, actually. But it didn't stop there. It grew, and it grew. It was as if something had taken root. Something had taken hold of me. Something powerful and relentless. This overwhelming energy started to move through me with a superhuman speed. I became obsessed with documenting everything. I filled countless notebooks and recorded hours of audio because I became terrified of losing even a single thought. Because if I lost anything, one single thought, I would lose everything. I just had hours and hours of audio on my phone like this.
But one, is it recording? Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. No. Let me see.
Have this.
10-minute rule, Jess, 10-minute rule. Mother courage, 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 MUTHACOURAGE, mother courage, follow, mother courage, follow, mother courage, follow. No, who's coming in? Who's coming in? Who's coming in?
No.
Who is it?
I'll go and see.
Sonia, just all I need is to know who's coming in.
Whatever had taken hold didn't want me to sleep or eat, take medication, get help, or be loved. It only let me sleep for 9 hours in 11 days. Yeah. The thing, as I called it, wanted to destroy me, and I believed it could. My name's Jessica. I have postpartum psychosis. It is not my fault. This is the mantra I created as soon as I heard the words postpartum psychosis for the first time, and I said it thousands of times during my illness and recovery. The first time I heard those words, I looked into my husband's eyes and I said, yes, that feels like what this is. And I felt the most fleeting moment of calm and peace before a wave of more mania washed over me. Having a name for it meant that it was something separate. It wasn't me. It meant that I was ill, and if I was ill, it meant that I could get better. I knew that if I was going to survive, I had to say yes to every contraction of psychosis. Breathe, trust, surrender, release. Because my psychosis was grueling. It was painful. It was terrifying. It was incredible. I was the victim, but I was the boss. Because I forced myself to remember at every stage that I had choices in what felt like something totally out of my control. I chose to have the best psychosis I could. Oh yeah, this wasn't how I'd planned the start of our new lives together, obviously. But I had to remember my training. This wasn't just something that was going to happen to me. This was something I could influence. So I had a bed waiting for me at a mother and baby psychiatric unit, but I had to get us there. It had already taken me 15 hours and countless failed attempts to try to make the 5-minute walk from my hospital room to the car that was waiting to take me there, and I was exhausted. And I was on my last chance, because if I couldn't get us all to a place of safety, the police would need to be called, and I would be sectioned, and Albert would be taken away from me. Psychosis expected me to fail. So I set up a council of war in that room, and I briefed every person in it with military precision. The crisis team, my husband, my mother-in-law, and Albert. I drilled them with the plan. I had chosen a song that was 3 minutes, 52 seconds long, and we were going to walk out of there to music. Oh yes, I would defy the thing that had taken me hostage by staging the most epic hospital cinematic breakout ever. So at 1 a.m. on the dot, I flung open the door, and with music blaring out of the phone in my pocket, I walked us out of that hospital. Reservoir Dog style. In slow motion. Actually did this. All the way to the car. It took a while. But I did it because psychosis picked the wrong mother to mess with. We all have expectations. Of course we do. But do we know that we have the power to change them, to influence them? Can we look at how we deal with the unexpected and unforeseen? Can we find ways to birth our lives well? We've all got the chance, all the time, in the small things, okay? You don't have to be, giving birth or have psychosis to deal with the unexpected. Let's start really small. How do you deal with the weather? Suitably British? Can you start noticing what happens when you were told sunshine and you got rain? Is it horrible weather? Or is it simply raining? Can you start noticing what happens to your thoughts, your resistance, the tension in your body, the language you are choosing? Are these choices little sprinkles of powder that can help us birth our lives with more ease, a little less pain? Can we take a moment to embrace the chaos, the unexpected, to shake off judgments about how we're told it's going to be or how we think it should be for a fraction of time and say yes to what we're actually experiencing, no matter how difficult it is? Can we start practicing relaxation in those tiny, seemingly inconsequential little moments before something big happens to us? Because let's face it, trying to learn surrender when it's all kicking off, the birth, the psychosis, the death, the cancer, the depression, and that's not the easiest time. If the problem with expectations is that they shape our reality, and the beauty of expectations is that they shape our reality, then the wonderful, powerful, and incredible truth about our expectation is that we can practice changing it if we have the courage to practice, the courage to be present, the courage to surrender, courage to change. Hypnobirthing didn't just teach me how to birth my children. Oh yes, I had another one. It taught me how to birth my psychosis and how to birth my life.